Back in 1964, computers were the size of rooms, and video games were unheard of. That's when the Sumerian game made its debut. It wasn't what we'd call a video game by today's standards. It was a text-based program running on a teletype machine, priced at 10 grand. Insane. The game was played as a Sumerian ruler, making decisions about agriculture and resources. It was rudimentary, sure, but it laid the groundwork for what would eventually become the simulation genre. Fast forward a few years to 1972, and you've got Pong. Essentially a digital version of table tennis, and while it may seem simple by today's standards, it was revolutionary. It showed you could play games on a screen, paving the way for a new industry. Fast forward another 5 years and the Atari 2600 burst onto the scene. Priced at $199, equivalent to about $850 today, with its iconic joystick and wood panel design, it became the first widely successful home console. Games like Asteroids and Space Invaders were incredibly popular. In the 1980s, a golden age of arcade gaming dawned, forever changing the landscape of entertainment. Arcades became social hubs, housing many of the same games the Atari 2600, with the addition of Pac-Man, Star Wars shooters, and many more. This was a time when the allure of the arcade cabinet with its flashing lights marked the birth of gaming culture, and like you know, would only grow for the decades to come. Now let's jump ahead to the mid-90s. The gaming world was about to undergo a massive transformation. 1994, the PlayStation was released, and with it came 3D gaming. Suddenly, games weren't just flat 2D experiences, they had depth, they had realism, and they started to feel something more like, or more than just games. Titles like Gran Turismo and Microsoft Flight Simulator brought a level of realism that was previously unimaginable. Gran Turismo specifically was a game changer. The game featured real cars, real tracks, and a physics engine that made it feel like you were actually behind the wheel. But it wasn't just consoles that were evolving. PC gaming was rising to prominence, carving out a space for hardcore gamers that craved even more power and customization. Players could upgrade their hardware, tweak settings, and push the limits of game performance. The advent of affordable 3D graphics cards like the NVIDIA Riva TNT and the Voodoo series opened a world of possibilities. Games like Half-Life and The Sims really showed what was possible. This was the beginning of a golden era for PC gaming. Around the same time, Nintendo introduced the N64, retailing at $199, great price actually, around $350 today, and boasted impressive graphics for the time. Though it struggled to compete with PlayStation CD-based games, titles like Mario 64, Zelda Ocarina of Time, really set new standards for 3D gaming, further pushing the boundaries of what video games could achieve. As we roll into the 2000s, the battle between consoles intensified, with each generation pushing the boundaries of what was possible in gaming. Entered the Xbox 360 in 2005, closely followed by the PS3 and Nintendo Wii in 2006. This era was marked by a significant leap in graphics, gameplay, and scope of simulation games. The Xbox 360, with its powerful hardware and robust online capabilities, became a haven for gamers. Meanwhile, the Wii took a different approach. It introduced motion controls that added more immersion. Wii Sports might seem simple by today's standards, but it was revolutionary how it brought physical activity and gaming into one. As the generation progressed, PS3 also made its mark with Gran Turismo 5. The 2010s saw another major shift in gaming. Driven by indie developers, thanks to advances in technology, game development became more accessible, and a new wave of creativity swept across the industry. Indie developers began to create simulation games that were innovative, unique, and often pushed the boundaries. One standout example is BeamNG Drive, a game that I know quite well, and it took vehicle simulation to a whole new level. But the game doesn't just simulate driving. It simulates the entire experience of being in a car, the way the tires grip the road, to the friction of why am I bread? Then there's Minecraft. This game allowed players to create and explore vast, procedurally generated worlds with the freedom to build, mine, and craft whatever they could imagine. And its impact on the gaming world is undeniable. Fast forward to 2013, and the launch of PS4 and Xbox One was supposed to be the dawn of the new era. Instead, it was a bit of a rocky start. Both consoles promised to deliver next-gen experiences, but early on, they struggled to live up to the hype. The Xbox One faced backlash for its terrible game-sharing decisions.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
The PS4, on the other hand, was better received. Also, it had its own share of issues, with a lack of standout launch titles and a user interface that felt sluggish. Despite its rocky beginnings, both consoles eventually found their footing, PS4 becoming known for its powerful hardware and exclusive titles. With the introduction of the One X in 2017, positioned itself as the most powerful console on the market. Simulation games like Forza Motorsport 7 and Gran Turismo Sport once again pushed the boundaries of realism. These consoles also saw a rise of VR and AR experiences, with PSVR making immersive simulation experiences more accessible to the average gamer, making VR an exciting frontier for simulation gaming. Fast forward to today, modern simulation games are more detailed and lifelike than ever before. Thanks to advancements in graphics, physics engines, and AI, games like Cyberpunk 2077, Elden Ring, they both offer players vast and immersive worlds to explore, with rich narratives and stunning visuals that make them feel more than just games. They're whole experiences. With VR, players can step into these virtual worlds and experience them in ways that have never been before possible. So, where do we go from here? The future of simulation games is incredibly exciting. With advancements in AI, we're likely to see even more lifelike and responsive virtual worlds. Now imagine a world where every NPC had its own goals and aspirations, where you could become friends with them, and you could touch the grass and see the beautiful sky. With future technology, this could become a possibility. We're on the cusp of a new era, one where experiences we've only dreamed of in the past might soon become reality. So if you thought simulation games were impressive now, just wait. You probably haven't seen anything yet.